That is right. I am subverting your expectations. Posting this one, that's right, early, a day early. We're going to post this most anticipated earnings on Saturday as opposed to Sunday. And we're going to do the recap on Sunday as opposed to Saturday and see how that does. So, this is obviously for the trading week beginning February 10th. Interesting one to look at. There's definitely a couple big earnings that are worth looking at right now in this week. Nothing major. Obviously, most of the major companies reported within the first couple weeks of the earnings season, but there's still plenty of good ones left. And really, with earnings, it's just you got to know where to look. There could be plenty going on. You just got to know where in the world you're looking. So, where are we going to find here for interesting stocks? So, let's just get into it. Monday before open, we're going to have Restaurant Brands International. We're going to have Lowe's, but they spelled it wrong. It's a different Lowe's, but I'm just saying. Could you guys stop trying to copy Lowe's? Come on. Just joke there. Allergen. Alrighty. Interesting one to look at, obviously, with everything going on as far as disease in the world right now. You never know what they might throw onto a conference call just to get some investors hyped. You never know. Mercury General Corporation. We got Golub Capital. Very much not sure what that means. There is Diamond Offshore. Okay. To me, sounds like some sort of drilling / oil company. Obviously, there's CNA. Pretty much the world's smallest font there, but it is definitely Brookfield, which is an ET. No, what am I talking about? It's an REIT. It's a REIT, as we like to say. I hate calling them REITs, but it's a real estate investment trust company. Saragon reporting also, and Just Energy. So, Just Energy, I like their logo, and you know what? That's the thing about companies. If you like their logo, you look into them. You know what I mean? You need a good looking logo. You look at Just Energy, all right? And you wonder, what the crap is Just Energy? Well, as a man who just found out, Just Energy engages in provisions of electricity and natural gas commodities, energy efficient solutions, and renewable energy options. So when you think about it, well, it might be worth looking at. Obviously, if you're considering renewable energy options, but obviously on the 5-year, first off, this is a penny stock, but on the 5-year, the thing's down 70% roughly. So definitely something to maybe not be too hyped about. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around renewable energy. Maybe you shouldn't sell out. Go for everything you can. I think it's not too bad. Who knows? Maybe they put a surprise, but not that exciting, I don't think. So after close, we have Mercado Libre. We've got Digital Turbine. All right, Chegg. Everyone knows your lovely Chegg. It's how you get books. I'm still in college, but somehow I couldn't think about what Chegg was for a second. Really a good place to get books. A lot cheaper than what you get if you have to buy them at the bookstore. Absolutely get ripped off. No matter where you're buying books or what book you're buying, you're still getting ripped off when you're buying a college textbook. It's just a fact of life. I've purchased one through college so far. Rented a couple. Overall, the one I bought was a year older. And you know what? It worked. Here's just a good tip for people in college. Unless it's math or potentially, I might say, like an English literature or reading type class, you're not going to need to buy the newest version of the book. You can buy a version older, which you'll get for about 1/10 of the price. That's my perspective on it. If it's history, there's not going to be much changed in the book because, well, it's going to be about history before a certain date. It's not going to be about last year's history. Just throwing that one out there. But Chegg, an interesting one to look at. We have Callaway Golf, another interesting one to look at too. The stock had a massive 4-year growth. Last year kind of fell off and then went back up a little bit. So interesting one to look at. Obviously, the main provider with golfing equipment, such as like hats, golf bags. Really, Callaway does it all. Ring Central, Davita. I don't know what Davita is. Xpo Logistics. Obviously a good time to look at any sort of these logistics companies, just because of this time of year. Obviously, this is the quarter they're reporting for the busiest delivery time of the year, which would be over the November-December period. So it's interesting to look at these type of companies anytime around this type of year, whenever they're reporting these earnings. We have IHVI. I feel like that's what that logo is, but I'm not entirely sure. Really, it's not IHVI. I was mistaken. You know what? I really apologize. Everyone knows that's a 2 and a 6. 26 Incorporated. I don't know if that's actually what it is, but it's definitely Roman numerals now that I'm looking at it, and I feel stupid for it, but it's Roman numerals. I'm not sure what the company is, but it's Roman numerals. That's what I know. Amcor Technology and Kemper. Nothing super exciting Monday. All things considered, I say maybe look at Chegg or a Callaway. Might be interesting to see what they have to offer. Before open on Tuesday, we have Under Armour. I think it's an interesting one to look at, just because Under Armour's a pretty boring stock, so you never know what might happen with it. But overall, it's a pretty boring stock, especially with, I hate to say it, coronavirus in hand. How's the production looking like for Under Armour products? Because let's be fair, I'm just going to be honest with you, most of these Under Armour products are made overseas, typically in sweatshops. So is the production going down for Under Armour products? Are they going to have a little bit lighter in terms of inventory on their balance sheet? I'll be interested to see what exactly they say in regards to that. It'll be interesting. We have Hasbro Games. You wonder about Hasbro sometimes. I don't know. There's obviously not that much of a market for physical board games really that much anymore. So really they've been expanding. There's a lot more digital board games now, which is weird, on your phone, on gaming consoles. I find it kind of weird. I would never play like Scrabble, let's say. Sorry, I'm not playing Scrabble on my PlayStation or something like that. That just doesn't seem right. You got to play the physical game. What is wrong with these kids nowadays? Have we ever played board games? Come on. We have Dominion Energy. We have Goodyear Tire. That's right, Goodyear. I have a nice set of Goodyears on my car. They haven't failed me. Goodyear's it's a good-looking company. Hilton Worldwide. We have AutoNation. U.S. Foods. Make My Trip. Interesting sounding company. Diebold and Nixdorf. I assume Nixford sounds more normal than Nixdorf, so I said that one wrong. I flubbed it. A little Freudian slip, don't worry. And Jones Lang LaSalle. Also sounds like some sort of insurance or legal firm. Tuesday after close, definitely an interesting one to look at there. Lyft, newer IPO. It's slightly following the coattails of Uber, and this will have an impact on Uber stock depending on what they report, no doubt about it. So profitability obviously a concern with Lyft as well, just as it is with Uber. It'll be interesting to see what their plans are as far as profitability, because Uber released a plans for the end of this year to be profitable for them. Is Lyft going to do something similar? They don't have that very unprofitable Uber Eats portion of it, so it'll be interesting to see what exactly they post with. Not a stock I'm super excited about, but I do think it could have a big impact on both it and Uber stock as well. We have Exact Sciences, Lattice, which, needless to say, it's not actually talking about an apple lattice pie. It's just talking about lattice, not lettuce either. We got Akami. We have National MI, Pretivum. It's a one thing I wish I could say. I couldn't say it. I apologize. We got Western Union. Interesting one to look at. Denny's. So, obviously, your favorite breakfast place out there. You love to go to Denny's, and you love to get the triple stack of pancakes. I don't know what they're offering. I haven't had Denny's since I was a kid, but Denny's it's one to look at, because are people going out for breakfast? I don't know about you, but I don't eat breakfast anymore. Maybe that's absurd, but I really don't eat breakfast. It's something I'm not usually hungry in the morning. Regardless, I'm just taking a look at Denny's. Seems relatively remarkable. I mean, this thing is up a good nearly 100% in the past 5 years, so that's around a 20% annualized return. Denny's must be doing something right. I tell you what. Blackstone Mortgage Trust and Assurant. So Tuesday, nothing that wild. Wednesday, we have a little bit more excitement going on. Obviously, starting off before open with a Shopify. This stock it's one of these very absurd stocks. I don't think there's any denying how absurd it is. I mean, the volatility on this stock is something out of a nightmare. On the 5 years chart, I mean, this thing's up 1,600%. I mean, good grief. Last year, we went up 180% alone. The valuation on this thing is just absurd, and it's one of these things where you see this kind of a stock report a bad earnings, you could see something devastating if you see that, but I don't necessarily think they're going to. Just overall, the valuation is certainly just out of this world. I mean, that's all I can tell you. We're talking Tesla valuation levels. This is some crazy stuff going on with Shopify. We have CVS Health. Any sort of these healthcare type companies, it's going to be interesting to look at right now, this time of year especially. You just got a lot of stuff going around, so it's changing the seasons. So interesting to see how they do. We have Teva. I can never pronounce it right, and I don't mean to. I feel rude for pronouncing it wrong. Don't worry. So I will learn how to pronounce it, and next time they report earnings, I will be all over it. But again, this is one of those interesting little stocks, down around 80% over a 5-year period. Kind of a interesting one, something that's getting hammered. Yeah, they make medicines. I mean, stuff for like treatment of cancer, stuff like that. But obviously, one that's getting hammered. You have Barrick, CyberArk. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a cool company. Global Payments. I think Global Payments, they have like prepaid cards, like debit type cards, but they're prepaid, so you put a certain amount on it, and that way it's less trackable, less risk of any sort of people getting access to your money, I suppose. I don't know that many places that take global payment that I know of, but it's not that widely used of a process right now. Not that many people actually use global payments to my knowledge. I could be completely wrong, but if it's an up and coming phenomenon, maybe I'm incorrect and it could be interesting. Lithia, CME Group, we have Moody's. Really, we all find a little bit of mood sometimes. Sometimes we're a little moody, and that's fair. It's okay. We have Hotel Trivago. Do they have a song, or do they have just a slogan? I feel like, no, they don't have a song. I think I'm thinking of Home Advisor. They've got the song. Trivago, boring commercials. Come on now. You can do better. You can certainly do better. But Trivago, an interesting one to look at too, obviously, because I think just with all the extra money people have had, just due to the just really good economic conditions, rising wages, it'll be interesting to see if more people have been scheduling, vacations, stuff like that, through a service like Trivago. Potentially, there's a good chance. We can see, obviously, now with fears of global disease, you might not necessarily see as much, so it'll be interesting to see if they add that into their conference call potentially. Yeah. After close, they have Cisco, which I'm a huge fan of. Applied Materials, ticker symbol AMAT, AMAT. That's right, baby. Marathon Oil. CenturyLink, garbage CenturyLink. not knowing what the heck they're doing with the freaking company. Can't produce a good internet to save their lives. Sorry, didn't mean to go in on them. We've got SunPower. Definitely sounds like an interesting one to look at, just due to the fact that they are clearly a solar company. And as we're talking about what we're expecting for the future, you're going to really be expecting these type of companies to rule the energy sector. It's going to be all about renewable and clean, and that's what these solar panels are supposed to be, besides the waste that you produce producing them. But, what can you say? We have Cadence, NetApp, MGM Resorts. MGM has a very important earnings call for a couple of reasons. Obviously, again, I hate to keep bringing up coronavirus. Sorry, throat gave out on me, and I don't know why. I didn't eat anything in particular that would have caused it, but you know what happens. What happens to the best of us. But MGM is important because of the coronavirus. It'll be interesting to see what properties they're shutting down to help prevent this, if they are, which I can guarantee they will. But still, it's an interesting one to look at nonetheless, to see if people are interested in that kind of stuff. We'll see. MGM Resorts, I'm interested. If it goes down, I might be interested. That's all I could say. We have HubSpot and CF, which CF is a picture of a corn ear. Corn ear? Yeah, there you go. An ear of corn. That sounds like the better way to say it. Thursday after close, though, we have one that I think is pretty big in Alibaba. I think it's an interesting stock to look at, and it's one that hasn't necessarily received that fair value that I think it does return, just because of the nature of being a foreign stock, really. I think it deserves some more respect for the amount of growth that they put in. I think Alibaba is a very interesting company to look at. You've got Safehold, Kraft Heinz. Obviously, love Kraft Heinz after the combining of Kraft and Heinz corporations. Definitely one of the biggest consumer staple type stocks out in the market right now. So very safe hold, very potentially good for a nice dividend booster in your portfolio. After that, we have PepsiCo. Speaking of potential dividend booster, you like a nice Pepsi, because they've, as opposed to like a Coca-Cola, they've been a stock that's actually been able to generate capital for their investors, really been going up pretty well. And again, with these beverage companies, it's really interesting. I think this is an interesting time of year, or just really time in the whole market as a whole, because people are a lot more interested in renewable. They want clean drink. They don't want necessarily soda. They're going to go for the healthier options. So I'm interested to see what Pepsi rolls out. If they roll out anything cool regarding, like, here is a new product that we're going to do. It's a new earthy tea. I could see them doing stuff like that. Or they could just keep running business as usual. I'll be interested to see what they choose to do. We have, after you're done with the garbage, the weird root tea that's in the garbage, go ahead and call up Waste Management, because they reported earnings. They will be reporting earnings, and we throw that kind of stuff in the trash. But Waste Management, decent long-term hold there, company. Nothing too exciting about it, though. What can you expect? It's a garbage company. You can't expect exciting. We have Yeti, very famous for their, obviously, cups, portable cups, as well as just in general what they can do. So very much a cooling type environment for them. Who knows what's going on there. So we have Zodis, Insight, Duke Bag Energy, and AIG Direct. After close, we got some interesting ones again, where you get a Roku, another stock that is pretty well gone way past its fair value, and it just says, I don't give a crap. I'm going to keep on blasting you. I'm going to be rocking it out. I like Roku, though. I wish I had purchased it a couple of years back when I was planning on it, but I did not, and not super happy, but I've made money elsewhere, so not every investment miss out is something you need to be upset about. Sometimes you just move on. We have Nvidia, one of the biggest chip players. I'm definitely interested to see Nvidia just because some of the other chip players have been performing pretty good earnings. So I'll be interested to see what they can do. We have Alteryx, Arista. I don't know. I couldn't say that one either. We have Arista, Dexcom. There is Expedia Group, another one just like Trivago. Take a look at Expedia, see what's going on. Datadog, Yamaha Gold, Cloudflare. Cloudflare is also a pretty interesting stock to look at, no doubt about it. And Shamur. I don't know what it is, but I can just tell you it's an Indian company that S is silent. If it's not, well, you smack me in the head. That's it for Thursday, though. So we're going to get into Friday. And what do we have with Friday? We have, that's right, Mary Jane. A little bit of Mary Jane. Canopy Growth starting us out. Interested to see if the hype comes back to these Mary Jane stocks, if we could see a big influx and people buying them depending on what these earnings look like. Obviously, previous earnings, they grew sales so massively just because of the low quantity into high quantity. Well, the very low quality into the normal low quality was a very big percentage. Doesn't mean it makes you skinny, entirely by any means, but interesting one to look at. I don't know what I just said. I feel like I just passed out and was speaking nonsense, but who knows? What was I talking about? Mary Jane. I was talking about some Mary Jane. I don't know. I legitimately went off on a tangent and I don't even remember any of it. That's what happens when you work at 4 in the morning, guys. Be careful. We have Enbridge, Yandex. I'm wide awake now. AstraZeneca, Immunogen Incorporated, Newell, BladeX, Terex, Portland General Electric. Hopefully they're better than the normal General Electric. Ha! Boom! Roasted. And don't forget American Axle and Manufacturing. Interesting one to look at. So overall, the week's not too wild. I think there's a couple key players you might want to look at this week in terms of earnings. Obviously, any of these could be interesting. If you know more about them than I do, go ahead and let me know if there's one you want me to look at. Or if there's one of these that I know of that you want me to look at more, take a look at. I will certainly do that. And we will hopefully enjoy a nice earnings week again. See what moves the market this week. I'm not entirely sure. Market obviously went ahead and went down on Friday. Not a shocker. It was 4 days of extremely high ups. So we will gladly be okay with a day that's down. I'm okay with it at least. Alrighty. Boo boo boo.